Hi everyone. I put a poll on my Instagram asking my followers which case they'd like to hear next. The options were Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Harvey Milk, John Benet Ramsey, or Aaron Hernandez. And Gypsy won by a long shot. So ask and you shall receive. But also look out for the upcoming ones. I still will do the other ones mentioned. And if you don't already, be sure to follow me on all other platforms, same handle, so you could be on the next vote. So let's get started with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So I listened to Gypsy's memoir on Audible. She was extremely clever in the fantastic use of her words with the banger title of My Time to Stand. I watched the ACT series on Hulu, the Mommy, Dad and Dearest documentary, which was by far my favorite, as well as Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup on Lifetime, which was a hot mess express, but I loved every minute of it. All of this in addition to my own extensive research on the case, reading the actual court records. And I hope you guys know I do this for every case I cover. And if you don't know who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, hang on to your pantalones for the most wild ride of your life, because her story is the most publicized case of Munchausen by proxy probably ever. Welcome to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. If you're new here, I'm Audrey, a former paralegal turned stay-at-home mom that loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer discretion is advised. All parties mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's dive into today's case. Munchausen by proxy is a type of mental illness and a form of child abuse where the caretaker, more often than not the mother, invents non-existing symptoms or purposely causes genuine symptoms to the child in order to make it appear as though the child is sick. Gypsy always remembers being sick. Every single person that knew her thought so as well. As far as they could tell, Gypsy was in a wheelchair, and she and her mom Dee Dee were living in a cute little pink home they were gifted through charity. A fairy tale happy ending story they told anyone and everyone who would listen. But as we all know, not all that glitters is gold. And in reality, what was going on behind closed doors has to go down in history with the likes of the tales of La Llorona. Claudine Petrie was 24 years old when she became pregnant by 17-year-old Rodney Blanchard. They met at a bowling alley bar in their shared hometown, Louisiana Bayou. They were married on December 27, 1990, and were separated before the birth of their daughter, Gypsy Rose Alcida Blanchard, on July 27, 1991. Rod claims Dee Dee, with a seemingly normal newborn Gypsy on her chest, would panic and announce that Gypsy had stopped breathing. Long before Gypsy was Dee Dee's victim and later fate would reverse the roles, she already had her eyes on other prey. People believe Dee Dee killed her own mother by starvation when she died in 1997. About a year after Dee Dee's mom's death, her dad, Claude, remarries to a woman named Laura. Dee Dee quickly becomes resentful towards Laura and allegedly tries to unalive her by deliberately putting weed killer in her food. This caused Laura to truthfully be sick and become bedridden for 9 months. Claude and his wife Laura say she got what she deserved when Dee Dee was murdered. Dee Dee stole from her own family when things didn't go her way and was arrested for writing bad checks. At first, Gypsy was told by her mother that she had muscular dystrophy and needed a walker. Then, after a minor motorcycle incident where she got nothing but a knee scrape, was forced to be confined to a wheelchair. When Gypsy was 11, she was reported to be a 9-year-old suffering from poor physical and mental development. She is both vision and hearing impaired. She can no longer walk, is fed through a feeding tube, and has some brain damage from seizures. By an article published with the Daily Comment on February 24, 2001. This same article reflects Dee Dee's account on how she feels lucky, has been seeking help from charity for Gypsy since she was 3 days old, and spent a lot of time at the Children's Hospital in New Orleans, homeschools her daughter, takes her to catechism classes, and hopes to get her a dog aid. Members of St. Joseph's Catholic congregation raised money to buy Gypsy a portable feeding tube. Gypsy and Dee Dee even go as far as name drop famous people they've met through attending sci-fi conventions, saying their famous friends would email Gypsy at least once a month to see how she was doing. Gypsy told reporters her paternal grandfather was her best friend. She loved Sesame Street, dressing up as a princess, and loved her multitude of cats, one called Little Sweet Kiss. Dee Dee claimed Gypsy had leukemia, paralysis, epilepsy, cancer, and was going through chemo. Gypsy was malnourished, wheelchair-bound, often logging around an oxygen tank, and maintained a shaved head to keep up with the act. Somehow, she managed to get Gypsy's salivary glands removed, and this caused major tooth decay, and she became hooked on pain pills at 16. Dee Dee had a tendency to hold Gypsy's hand in public and squeeze it when she would go off script. Clinical psychologists have compared this situation that Gypsy was to that of a hostage. Gypsy claims she would have to take baths with her mom and her grandfather Claude. Gypsy has also declared physical abuse at the hands of her mother when she would beat her with the coat hanger and often slap her. Gypsy would be leashed like a dog with handcuffs linked to Dee Dee's bed, a bed Dee Dee would make Gypsy share with her until her demise.